at you on a weekly basis. I obviously plan on doing more videos, but right now, given the time, I'm producing one video a week, and I hope you're finding it valuable. And today, I'm going to continue the discussion on the Canadian real estate market, and in particular, I'm going to bring you examples and some data, and you'll see some obviously houses that are selling on the market today of what's been happening for the first 15 days of the calendar year in 2022 in the Greater Toronto Area with a focus on Ontario, and obviously what potentially we can see for the rest of the year. And a little bit, I'm going to touch up on some interest rates, some information I want to share with you. So let's get it started. And once again, if you like my videos, please comment below. Any feedback, likes, or even if you dislike it, please do. Any feedback from me is valuable at this point, or any point, I should say. So let's kick it off. The first here is another Twitter thread. You'll see that I use this consistently, and I find the data here on Twitter fantastic, and it really highlights what's important. And obviously you can spend your time looking into the charts, as I'm going to be opening these charts up and sharing more information with you. And also in the description below, you'll see the links to the Twitter threads themselves. So if you're curious of where I'm pulling this data from, you can obviously click on the bottom and dig in a bit further. The first here Twitter thread here is from Scott Ingram. He's a this is obviously his description from Twitter. He's a data-driven Toronto chartered accountant, and he's a realtor. So he's a realtor, but he's really focused on the data from that perspective. And you'll see here this comment, not and only goes up industry hype man. So he's trying to bring you the real data and what's going on in the market. And the purpose of this video for today is I want to make sure you have the right information and you can make an informed decision, as I'm sure a number of you are obviously looking in the market to buy your first home, your second home, or maybe even investment property. So let's get into it. So this is from Scott. So update on 416 sales in the first half of the month. So this is the first 15 days of January 2022. Condo sales are down 27%, and freehold sales are down 31%. Transaction volumes are both down versus last year. So that's in comparison to 2021. However, he has a bit of a caveat, but don't lose sight that they are both higher than 2019 and 2020. And here's the condo chart. So I think I can open this up. Yeah, I can. So what he means by this statement here is the sales that have occurred in 2022 are higher still than what was happening in the same time, January 2019 and 2020. So that really still is at an elevated level. Obviously, in January 2020, that was just at the COVID really happened March 2020, so we were still 2 months away, and that level of activity obviously still is not as high as it is in January. So if you look at the chart, this is breaking down by each 15 days of the month. So this in green is for 2021, so you can see 416 sale condos were 822 in the first 15 days of January last year. This year in comparison is 603. So obviously there's a difference of greater than 200. However, back to his point, in 2019 there were 350 sales, and in 2020 there were 429 sales. So what does that tell you? That tells you clearly that sales are happening. They're happening at definitely an elevated level compared to pre-pandemic, and people are still picking up inventory, selling their inventory obviously to a much lesser degree, but it's really painting a picture that sales are definitely not dropping. They are down compared to year over year to 2021, but 2021 was a drastic year in terms of sales, price appreciation for homes. So obviously that's to be seen if that record continues. I don't think it will for sales. For prices, that's a whole other matter, and that's the second thread we're going to go over. So moving on from here, he just puts another, this is for 416 freehold sales. So continue along this thread. All year long sales comparisons are likely to look bad if you're only going to look to last year, so comparing 2022 to 2021. And it's a metaphor here. So it's like Gretzky following up on his record 250-point season with 183 points. Still won the scoring title, so he couldn't have been that bad, just another record total. So again, he's painting a picture that if you're comparing it to 2021, which I think probably will be the the record-setting year, at least maybe in the next few years here, looking back in hindsight. He's just saying if you're comparing this year to last year, yes, you're going to see a decrease in sales, but they're still elevated compared to pre-pandemic. So looking at 416 freehold sales, you'll see here in yellow, so far in the first 15 days, there's been 219. Last year, this time was 316, and you can see here in 2019 and 2020, the average was about 170 units or freeholds being sold. So you can see the behavior in the market is still elevated. Will we return to pre-pandemic? Who knows? I think there will be an adjustment period eventually where things, slow down and it finds a bit of its sweet spot, I'm going to call it. But at this moment, it's still elevated if we're comparing it to previous years. And he just puts a note here, only records broken this year will be for prices, and that's the next thread I'm going to share right after with you, so don't go away. And maybe low active listings and articles bemoaning both of these things. So he's making it's bittersweet giving these emojis. You're not going to see that much inventory in the market, at least what we're hearing, what we're seeing, and behavior by homeowners. And at the same time, obviously, given the lack of inventory, supply and demand, you're going to see prices continue to go up. And you're asking yourself, how is that happening if there's not enough supply? Obviously, that's where demand and supply comes back to economics 101. And to give you an example of what we're seeing in the market, you'll see on my screen that this is a thread on Twitter by Daniel. He's a realtor in the city of Toronto. And he's just showing an example of what's happening in the marketplace. And when I show you these numbers, if your jaw doesn't drop like it happened to mine, in terms of just what the price was listed for and what it ultimately sold for, it's just baffling to me at this point. But hey, that's what the market is. That's what it's asking for today. So we just got to work with the market, make sure we have the right information, and make our informed decision. So updated interior townhouse here appears to be the highest freehold ever sold in this pocket. So he's referring to this market here. Still very intrigued by the 905 market right now. Gap between freehold and condos is huge. So just the price, asking price for condos versus freehold homes, they historically are expanding at this point. So digging into this home, this is a freehold home in the 905, so it's in the Vaughan area. It was 3+1 bedrooms, 5 bath, and 1 garage. And you can see here, this is from January 14, 2022, when he posted this this information. This freehold home was listed for $1 million, so $999,000. And look at the price it sold for. It sold for $1.48 million. So the seller's asking for $1 million. They made $480,000 more than what they listed the price. And if that doesn't just paint a picture of where we are in the market today, I honestly believe nothing else will. There's not enough inventory. You have a lot of buyers chasing a few homes, and that's obviously leading to such situations where a buyer is not getting $100,000 more. They're not getting $200,000 more, $500,000. That is 50% more than obviously what you're expecting compared to what what the value of the house you put on. You put it for $1 million, you got 1.5 million almost, obviously 20,000 short. So that really paints a picture of just what's happening with inventory and demand. Not enough inventory and prices are going through the roof, even though we're seeing less activity compared to a year ago. So don't assume if there's less activity, less sales in the marketplace, that prices may adjust or may be lower than what you've been seeing recently. Is actually going the opposite way, and really this kind of astounded me, and I'm like, I have to share this with everybody. So that's all for today. I'm gonna share look at the description. There's gonna be these the Twitter threads where you can see this information for yourself. And obviously, if you're interested, you can follow Daniel. You can follow also Scott Ingram here. They bring great information, and I strongly encourage you to look at Twitter if you're just looking for information. And obviously, follow me along. Subscribe. I'm gonna continue to bring this information throughout the year. I'm obviously gonna follow up next week's video with on interest rates by the Federal Bank of Canada. I think you'll find very interesting potentially of some impacts that are coming to the Canadian housing market. But once again, I appreciate if you give me a like, subscribe, or even a comment. Tell me what I'm doing good, tell me what I'm doing bad. And obviously I appreciate you taking the time to view this information, and I hope it was helpful to you, your family, and your friends. Have a great day, guys. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a good one. Thank you.